write dialogue or quoted speech. Read how to punctuate direct speech. That's Hanan's question. At the end of the sentence, usually we use the direct speech at the end of the sentences. Place a comma after the subject and reporting a verb. Said, commented, added, explained, EL. So these are the different kinds of reporting verbs. Then you use a comma afterwards, and you use the quotation marks. Okay. Insert the first set of the quotation mark. Okay, so you have to insert the first set of the quotation mark after the comma. Begin the sentence or phrase inside the quotation marks with a capital letter. So you need a capital letter in the quotation mark as well. Place the correct punctuation, period, question mark, exclamation point, etc. at the end of the sentence. And insert the second set of quotation marks after the punctuation. So sometimes it is more difficult to explain things than when you see an example. Look at the example. The doctor said, so we use a comma, and we use the first set of the quotation marks. Take your medicine every day. So you see the first letter of the sentence in the quotation mark is capitalized, and we have a full stop, and then we have the quotation at the end. This is direct speech. This is how we punctuate a direct speech. We talk about whatever someone else has said. Victor asked, sorry, we have a comma, then we have the quotation mark. Why do you always come late? And then question mark, and then quotation mark. The coach screamed, we have a comma, quotation mark. You have to play harder than this, exclamation mark, and then we have got the quotation mark again. Okay, so when you're treating the sentences in the quotation marks, they're actually complete sentences. So they start with the capital letters, and they will end in the special, the special punctuation they need, such as, for example, that full stop or question mark or exclamation mark, whatever a sentence needs. So sometimes we use these quotation marks or quoted sentences at the beginning of the sentence. So begin with the first set of quotation marks, capitalize the first letter of the sentence. At the end of the sentence, place a comma, question mark, or exclamation mark, not a period. Insert the second set of quotation marks after the comma. Insert the subject and reporting verb, and at the end with a period. Look at the examples. Usually explanations, I told you, is more complicated than the examples. So sometimes those quoted sentences can come at the beginning. Just to give variety to your writing, you can use this kind of settings as well. In this sentence, I have always loved you, Haley whispered. So I have always loved you is what he said, and we put it into into two quotation marks, and at the end we use a comma, not a full stop here, because you're going to tell the reader who has said that. Okay, so Haley whispered, then you will have the full stop. So sometimes those quoted words can come at the beginning, and the main sentence or the independent clause comes at the end. Take your bags and report to section 5. The sergeant screamed. Okay, so that's what he said. Why do you always bother me? Question mark. The trainer asked. So here, be careful. We don't need capital letters for the rest of the sentence, unless it is a proper noun. like Kili is a proper noun, so that's why we use capital letters always. So sometimes those quoted sentences comes partly at the beginning and partly at the end. So that's also another possibility, which gives variety to your writing, especially. Look at the examples. I'm not going to read those explanations because I think sometimes explaining things makes them more complicated. You just see the examples, you will understand what's going on. So here, I think Bob commented that this is the worst day of my life. Okay, so you bring the first part of quotation at the beginning, and you continue his speech after you use the independent clause. Okay, so I think it starts with the quotation marks and ends with the quotation mark, but you will have a comma here. Then you will use the independent clause, Bob commented, and a comma. Okay, you have a comma. The rest of the sentence does not start with a capital letter. It starts with a small letter if it is necessary. If it is not, you can start with capital letters, usually for proper nouns. And at the end, you have another quotation mark and full stop as well. Look at the next one. This is a question. Could you please explain, Karen asked, why you are always so rude? So, would you please explain, comma, quotation mark? Karen asked, comma, why you are so rude? So since this is the rest of the sentence, we do not use capital letter at the beginning and we use a quotation mark at the end because the whole thing is, could you please explain why you are so rude? And the next one is, I have never stolen anything, Fred said, and I have never lied either. Okay, so I have never stolen anything is the first part of his statement. We use a comma at the end, and the rest of the sentence is, and I have never lied either. So we use a full stop and quotation mark at the end. Any questions about directed speech? Direct speech, sorry. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
When we separate the sentences in the two parts, the meaning of the sentence is different from the type. No?
No, none of them is about the meaning. It's all about the form. Okay, it's all about the variety in your writing. All of them, you can change them to the, for example, if you look at this sentence, we can say Bob commented, comma, then you start with the quotation mark. I think that this is the worst day of my life. Full stop, quotation. The same meaning, no difference.
Okay.
Okay. So it's possible to use all of them in the same format, but since your writing would look a little tedious and a little boring to the readers, usually in the novels, in the writings, they try to use this kind of various formats in direct speech, especially when they are having some long dialogues. Yes, any questions? No? Okay. So let's go back to reported speech or indirect speech. So sometimes we use direct speech. It means we quote whatever the other person has said directly. That's why we call it direct speech. Sometimes we try to report it. It means that we do not use the same words. We tell the reader or we tell the audience what he has said to us. Okay. So here, as I told you, in direct speech, first of all, we do not have those punctuations as in direct speech. We do not have quotation marks. It's a complete sentence. Actually, two sentences are just connected together as a noun clause, connected to a independent clause, like this one. Look at this one. I love you. She said that she loved me. Okay? So here, she said is the independent clause. That she loved me is the noun clause. Or we can say dependent clause. So here, I love you is quoted. This is the direct quotation. But when we say she said that she loved me, this is indirect speech. And be careful that the tenses will go back to the past tense. If the first verb, I mean the verb in the independent clause, is in the past tense. So the simple past changes to, simple present changes to simple past, and present progressive changes to past progressive. For example, I am doing my homework. He said that he was doing his homework. Okay, so be careful about the other changes as well. We also change the pronouns according to the person and the context. We also sometimes change the adverbs. We will talk about them later. Some of the adverbs should also change according to the tense and the context. So if you have present perfect in the direct speech, it changes to past perfect in the indirect speech, especially if the first verb is in the past. For example, I have already eaten. She said that she had already eaten. She said that she had already eaten. Simple past changes to past perfect. For example, I arrived on time. He said that he had arrived on time. You see, past perfect, because the first part of the sentence is past, and we are talking about a time before the past, or a time back in the past tense. Past progressive changes to past perfect progressive. For example, I was sleeping. She said that she had been sleeping. Simple future changes to conditional. Let's not say conditional. It is would. Okay, it changes to would, not conditional. It's not conditional. You will have a test on Thursday. The professor said that we would have a test on Thursday. We would have. So will changes to would. That's the more simple, a simpler way of saying the same thing. Yes. Future progressive changes to conditional progressive. Okay, I don't like this conditional progressive. It is would plus progressive tense. So I will be traveling to Spain. Yes, yes, Tina.
The first, the before the last one have been, that sentence I didn't get it.
Which one?
Yeah, this one, I was sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is past continuous. Yes, I was sleeping.
And
right? It should go one tense back. So it would go to past perfect continuous or past perfect progressive. Like simple past, if you have simple past, for example, I ate dinner. I ate dinner. She said that she had eaten dinner, right? This is for the simple past. So for the past continuous, it happens again. It goes to past perfect continuous.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I will explain more. Don't worry, we will practice. I'm just telling you first the theory, and then we're going to practice next. Okay? So I told you simple future, or future progressive changes to would plus progressive tense. For example, I will be traveling to Spain. So this is future progressive. It changes to, she said that she would be traveling to Spain. She would be traveling to Spain. So we just change will to would. And imperative form, it is important. Imperative means giving orders to others or giving instructions to others, like eat your vegetables. My mother told me to eat my vegetables. So we use to instead of that or any other sentences. And it is not a sentence anymore. It's just the infinitive form of the verb we are attaching to the main sentence. If it is negative, for example, don't eat your vegetables. How do you report it?
Not to eat.
Yeah. So my mother told me not to